All right, compadres, aloha, and welcome back to another episode. Is your host with the most from the West Coast, Sbpress, reporting live from Mastermind Media. And as always, to my right, Ilsa himself.
Yep.
And also to my right, Joe Rosati himself.
What's up with the what's up?
And ladies and gentlemen, today we have to say a big thank you from somebody who came from Hawaii to Hollywood.
Yes.
The awesome, amazing, beautiful, talented Miss Danyelle Cedar.
Yes. Thank you. Aloha. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for taking the time.
There's applause going right now.
Yes.
Yeah, right.
Y'all hear it. Y'all hear it.
Well, I did bring you guys some amazing cookies.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Thank you.
From Maui, Honolulu cookies. There's, I don't even know how many there's in there.
Onions? Who's cutting onions?
Sugar Man P's gonna love it.
Yeah.
Sugar Man P's gonna love that.
And then shout out to my Pakaloa babes. I had to bring you the infamous Pakaloa sticker.
Oh, that's
Ooh.
cool.
Got all
Nice.
our
Yeah,
butts
that's
and
nice.
cuts on there.
Butts and cuts.
Yes.
We could not stop laughing about that.
So shout out to the Pakaloa babes. Got some stickers for you
Let's show
boys.
them that.
Yes.
Let's show them that.
Get those butts and those cuts right there.
Put that on Grandpa's bumper.
Okay. Now, before
Or in the
we
man cave.
Or the man cave. That's
cave.
perfect, right?
before we divulge into the awesomeness of you, just like how you came bearing gifts, I'm a gift giver as well.
Oh.
Courtesy.
What?
And definitely want to say thank you again for being here.
Thank you.
Now
Oh,
go ahead
shoe
and
pugs. Oh
go
my
ahead
God, I
and show
love it.
them. Yes.
Shoe pugs.
Oh,
Pugs
yes.
got you.
Nice.
Pugs got you. Uh-huh.
Oh my
Damn,
God.
B.
Do you know how
Nice.
often or not often I get to wear
A
a
hoodie.
pullover hoodie? So it's so
My guys at Shoe
exciting.
Pugs, thank you.
Oh my gosh. Thank you so much,
That's
Shoe
cool.
Pugs.
That's
I love it.
cool.
Oh my gosh. I crank up the AC in my house just as an excuse to put on a hoodie.
Hoodie.
That's the only time I get to wear a hoodie.
So you got a nice little piece to throw on. That's cool. That's what's
And a
up.
dope beverage for later.
Oh my gosh.
look
Thank
at
you
that. He got
guys.
the Bel Air. Okay.
Thank
Nice.
you.
This,
Oops.
that don't compare
Mike.
to this. Oh, yeah.
Well, no, because you Sugar Man P.
Sugar Man P.
Sugar Man
Oh, are
P.
you a
He
sugar
gonna
addict
get-
too?
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Big time.
Man, sugar. I mean, I've never met anyone addicted to vegetables, but it wouldn't be a bad thing to be addicted to. I am
There's
a
other
sugar
grains out
addict.
there.
Yes, I am a sugar addict. It's someone send me to Sugars Anonymous.
Right.
It's bad.
Put you in a straight jacket. And like that, compadres, let's
I
go.
need all the wins, yeah. Ain't no L's, I gotta get a no call and quits, yeah. Gotta keep on moving no matter how hard it gets, yeah. Better move out the way, cause I'm coming with harder hits.
So, Joe, can you let the ladies and gentlemen know what time it is?
It's the weirdo of the week.
You're weird.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, go ahead. I was
Oh,
going to,
no.
I'll let him know. Yeah,
you,
yeah.
you Gucci.
We just had something happen in Beverly Hills, right?
Right? Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, we seen it during, the pandemic and, but for it to be so brazen during the day in Beverly Hills, it's becoming so scary now, right? Those guys ran in the Gucci store, came out with, I think they said over $300,000 worth of merchandise.
Right.
The video is going around the internet right now like crazy. So what's your guys' opinion on that, man?
Well, I mean, I look at it this way. Our state that we live in, they're not going to arrest anybody. They can't go after them now. And I mean, I heard about this months ago, and I don't know if I told you guys. I think I did. But I have people that come into the bar where I work at Roger Dunn's. They're not supposed to do anything. If they
Right.
want to come in and grab it, they just said, let them go. And then they call the cops, and the cops aren't going to do anything. So it's kind of like, it's like an anarchy in a way. Like, no one gives a shit. Like, what are we doing? Like, now, if my big ass went in there, I'd get caught. Like, it wouldn't even happen.
That wouldn't be
not
Gucci.
even
Gucci.
nimble on his feet.
There's no way, I'd fit a description, everybody's description and everything else. I mean, I couldn't get away from it, Maybe if I shaved my head afterwards, I don't know. But I think
He'd be
it's,
like, get out of my way.
Get out of here.
I just think it's ridiculous. So, I mean,
Well, you know
it's
how at the
unfortunate.
bank they have like buttons under the
Yeah.
counter?
Right?
Mhm.
To
Like-
lock the door.
Yeah, that but like, why aren't these stores? Don't they have like
Right.
fishing line? You just
Snatch
trip
it.
them right as they
Yeah,
go, like right
exactly.
ankle high.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like,
yes.
Right?
I mean, if you're not going to have the proper security to, protect that type of merchandise with that type of money involved and stuff, what are you putting it in a regular mall for?
Right.
I understand that you want to be able to have this accessible to everyone and not feel like no one's, segregated from being able to buy it.
Mm-hmm.
But you still got to protect your brand, protect your items, and protect your business.
Right.
And that was $200, $300?
Yeah.
Somebody got to go.
Yeah.
Somebody got to go.
I know what sucks is that there's people out there one, doing this.
Yeah.
But then also, who came up with the idea that you can't smack your kids around anymore? Because obviously these guys have never been smacked on the ass before.
I'm gonna high five you on that one.
They asked me smacked in the damn face. We take care
I'm
of
not
it.
trying to say people need to beat their kids,
Yeah.
but there needs to be some form of physical discipline. Because this
absolutely.
verbal is just getting more backtalk, more obnoxiousness, and since kids are more accessible to money and all this other stuff earlier, they are just more rambunctious and egotistical.
Yeah.
And shit like this happens. And
Well,
there's no morals or no, you know.
True. If you see the video, man, there's security. Did you see what he was doing? He had his hands on his hips, just let
that's
him
what
go.
I'm saying. They just let him go now.
And then the other
There's no
guy slapped
consequences
at one
for
of the bags, trying to grab one of the bags from him. And first of all, if you see 13 kids coming in with hoodies tied to their face,
Come on now.
what do you think's going to
Come
happen?
on now.
I mean, what do you think's going to happen?
Come on
Right?
now. That
Period.
cage is coming down. Nobody's
is.
going out.
Nobody's
See,
That's
well, that's
basically-
a good point, P. I mean, they have to grab it because now it's going to be a ripple effect. Now everybody's going to start doing it.
They
I mean,
see
he
it.
could have
Yep.
kept his hands on his hips and just stuck his foot out.
Yeah.
You know, tripped
Do you
somebody.
remember that show Robin Big?
Yeah.
Yes.
Remember he
Absolutely.
had the net gun?
Yeah,
where,
yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
where the f- are those? Oh my God, oh man, I would have so much fun with one of those. It's like if someone came and stole a bikini during my shift,
Right.
I would just shoot that net gun.
Gotcha.
There's no running down Front Street in that thing.
I love that. I love that. I love that.
It's not violent.
Right.
right.
Yeah. It is unfortunate it happens here, though.
And that
Hopefully
is what? That is just karma.
It is.
Yeah, it is.
It's gonna come back.
Mm-hmm.
So that is our weirdo of the week.
Yes, it is.
And please, Miss Danyelle, let the ladies and gentlemen know where you're originally from and your family upbringing.
So I am originally from San Luis Obispo. I'm
Uh-oh.
from Morro Bay, so 3 stacks and a rock.
Uh-oh.
And and I moved to Maui almost 11 years ago. So I had just turned 21, and it was like I hadn't gotten pregnant. I'm not married. It's now or never.
Right.
And we're almost 11 years later, I'm still out there. So.
Energy is amazing, man. I love it.
That's really what you be thinking though. And at
Yeah.
that time, you're like, hey,
Yeah,
now or never.
I was so stoked for like 6 months. I'm like, I'm moving to Maui. And the last week, I'm like, oh, am I really doing this? And my grandpa reminded me, he's like, you haven't gotten knocked up and you're not married. Like, it, now or never. What's the worst that can happen?
Right.
You fly back. It's not that
Yeah,
big of a
right,
deal.
right.
And then my grandpa actually just texted me as a reminder. He goes, you made the right decision. Just stay on Maui. Like regarding like our family that's here in California, he's like,
Right.
just stay the over there. Like, he's like, you made the right choice.
Don't come back.
Wise man.
Yeah, don't
wise
come back.
man. Listen to that lesson right there. Run like the wind. Okay, so family upbringing and stuff, you know.
Okay, so I am the oldest. There's 5 of us. There's
Okay.
myself and my sister and my 3 godbrothers. We all grew up on the same block, and moms work hard, dads party harder.
Right.
So the oldest of 5, it's I definitely grew up a little faster
Right.
than the rest of my friends, and there was a lot of alcohol, there was a lot of parties, there was a lot of abuse, there was a lot of ass smackings, to put it lightly.
Right.
And at a very young age, I did decide that I didn't want to be anything like these people who raised me. Just pretty young coming up with that decision on my own. Saw a lot of things I didn't want to see, a lot of things I shouldn't have seen. And yeah, I just got the hell out of there.
Right.
Nice, good for you.
Yes.
Run like the wind.
Yes.
Absolutely. That's family. You're close to them. Those are the ones that'll hurt you for sure.
Mm-hmm.
That's the truth.
Yes,
Yep.
definitely.
No, definitely. What you guys got?
Hey, I think it's time for
Oh. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. We have this awesome segment called Let It Fly, where we're
Oh,
gonna
I
throw
love
some
this one.
images up here.
You
I
like
love
this,
it.
huh?
Yes.
Yes.
I'm always bummed when I'm only listening to it. Like if I'm driving and I'm like, I can't see what's on the TV. I'm like, what's on there? Like everyone's like, ooh, ah. And I'm like, what the fuck is it?
You hear that, compadres?
Yes.
That's real love and support.
That is
right there.
really
real
love
love
support.
and
I
support.
love that. That's
Not just
awesome.
watching, but listening to us on the road too.
Yes.
So definitely
That's awesome.
appreciate
Thank
it.
you so much.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
So
I love this game. It's like Coke or Pepsi.
So Mark, with that mastermind, please let it fly.
Oh my God.
Oh yeah. We
This
need
went
you-
viral.
Yeah, we need you to explain this.
Okay.
Elaborate,
So it
please.
was, I don't know if I should say, I don't think it exists anymore. Like they rebranded. This was a vacation club.
Okay.
So you were a member, and you basically in your membership you got to go on dope ass vacations at wholesale instead of retail. So it was almost like a Costco but for vacations.
That's cool.
So it's like you're a member, you get everything else cheaper. So they would call their products were called dream trips. And my first dream trip was 5 nights, 6 days in Mexico. All you can eat, all you can drink, excursions, the whole shebang was like $299.
Wow.
We ain't doing something right.
And but obviously 2020 definitely f***ed up that company since no one could go anywhere. But I think they've rebranded and they're doing something else. But that was their like marketing was the "you should be here" sign.
Right.
And this is my second time skydiving. My friend Sherry, it was her 30th birthday.
Oh, right on.
And so we went to Oahu and went skydiving. And what's funny is the first time I went skydiving was my 21st birthday in Monterey.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
So
wow.
this was my second time. And I remember my first time, I was like, when you're done, have you guys been skydiving?
No.
Oh my
That's
God.
what I wanted to hear
And
that.
never
It
will.
is the best feeling because you legit forget about everything. Like if anyone has ever stressed the out, just go jump out of a plane. Like
Right.
you will forget about everything that's going on in life. And like when you land, you're like, that was awesome. Like I want to do it again. This time, when I did it the second time, I don't know why, but I was shaking for like 6 hours afterwards. Like the adrenaline wasn't stopping. I remember sitting there. I was like, okay, like we're done. Like I'm still shaking.
Yeah.
And, but I remember I was like, I got to get this picture with the "you should be here." And the dude strapped to me was like, yeah, let's not try and kill any turtles. Like, don't drop it, you know? So I was like death gripping that thing. And I was like, did we get the shot? And then I just death gripped it the rest of the way down. And that sign, it wasn't a sign by the time we got to the ground.
Right.
It went in the trash afterwards.
Right.
But no, that photo went viral in that company,
That's
which
awesome.
was pretty dope.
That's awesome.
It is a good
That's a
photo,
great,
that's for
that's
sure.
a great picture.
It was. I had to hear the backstory.
I
of it
know.
for sure.
I feel like now it's going to go viral, but people are going to change the words to "you should be here" to whatever the they want it to say. Like this can go so many ways.
I hear that.
It could say you, Thomas.
Oh yes, we definitely gonna get into that.
I couldn't do it. I would be.
No, there's no way.
It's all good.
There's no way
I'm
my
so
big ass is
scared.
doing that. Hell no.
Like bungee jumping, any of that
No,
stuff. You
I
know, I
mean-
could do roller coasters and stuff, but
I told you guys before, when I used to do that property management, I'd be up fucking 8 stories on a roof looking on my balls or my stomach. I can imagine how that shit would be right there. Shit, I'm good.
Comes straight to your throat.
No,
shaking like
no,
Don Paul before you go out
look
that
down like,
Oh my gosh.
I'll be out there.
Ultimate warrior, but in a scared way.
No, I read the first
I mean,
I
I
would-
probably could get through
No,
with it,
I'm
but
not-
you
yeah.
say it relieves stress. See, I would think the
Oh,
whole
yeah.
time, am I going to make it or not?
No, that's stressful, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, but hey.
The first time I went in Monterey, I remember I was one of the last people to get out of the plane. So anytime someone would jump, I could feel the plane like get a little lighter. And I was like, oh, this is weird.
Wait that whole time too. It
Yes. Yeah.
man.
Was that a choice to be the last one?
No.
No, it's probably
Oh,
just
no.
they probably the way
I
they
don't know how
rostered it
that-
out.
Yeah. I don't know how that went down.
Push me off first.
What we got next, Mark? Oh yeah.
Let's swiftly hit this one, guys.
Well, we'll swiftly hit this one. So I wanted to say, you guys seen about the past couple weeks the Swifties?
Yeah.
They were all telling Taylor, hey, boycott your LA shows, right? For the SAG, the actors and everything, just to show, solidarity with everybody. And she was back and forth with it. Well, it turns out she's coming here. She's making $13-14 million a show. So at this point, it's like, how loyal are you to the craft, or is it the money that you're making?
Not too much. You remember Snoop Dogg, right?
Right?
Canceled multiple until this
A lot of artists
situation gets
have.
handled.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, the strange thing about this is I didn't know you guys were going to do this. I'm fine with it. I love it. But, I'm getting out of, all been to my house, and I'm leaving the carport. One of my grown-ass neighbors, started putting stuff on the back of her window. I go, what are you doing? Oh, I'm going to the Taylor Swift concert. I go, yeah, it must be nice to still be a kid, huh? I mean, I'm just like, because that just amazes me when anybody does that. It's like, okay, if that's what you want to do, but it's just like kind of similar to what I saw today going around, like a dude talking about if grown-ups go to plan trips to Disneyland or Disney World with no kids,
somebody
you got issues
tomorrow.
And if you take like vacation, you know what I mean? So then the point you made is very
I'm not
One,
gonna
like-
point.
And she making a lot of paper.
6 shows at that rate.
At that rate.
At that rate.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
lot of
I
money.
haven't been following the whole
Right.
Taylor Swift thing,
Yeah.
but when I noticed like everyone's going to like the Eras tour, I'm like, oh, she's like really coming. I miss the old Taylor. I miss
Yeah.
the old Taylor Swift music. The new shit, it's like everything sounds the same on the radio today.
Yeah. It
Yeah.
sure
I'm not
does.
gonna disagree with you at all.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
For sure.
let's swiftly get over that.
I had a feeling that this was going somewhere else though.
Where'd you think it was going?
Well,
Yeah.
I know we're gonna get to my book later, but there are future books coming, and some of my friends always joke. They're like, "Are you just gonna Taylor Swift all these asses?" That's where I thought that was going. Like they don't stand up straight.
Yeah.
3, 2, 1.
Oh. Yeah, go ahead.
Leah Remini
Ramini.
I have a
sues Church of Scientology for harassment and defamation.
So this is really interesting right now because of everything going on in Hollywood. I mean, you have the writer's strike, you have the SAG strike. She's been one of my like crushes of all time. Like I love this woman.
Brief
She's a
behind
great
the scenes
actress,
thing.
and she brought
Kings
out,
and queens, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
and she brought out the documentary about everything going on, and now she's suing him. And for her to drop that bomb now with everything going on in Hollywood, because I've met some people that went through Scientology. They do some weird shit. And there's been some big names attached to that.
Yeah.
Tom Cruise, Katie Holmes, Isaac Hayes.
Yeah, lots of
Patrick Swayze.
Yep.
I mean, I could
Madonna.
go down the
Madonna.
Madonna.
Yeah.
There's been a lot go through. So for her to drop this bomb right now, and she should, because that documentary was crazy.
Yeah.
You know, and it kind of tied us in with everything going on in Hollywood. Like I said, it's crazy right now.
Hell
because-
yeah. Aliens.
There you go.
I think it's like just a cover for other stuff going on. But are we sure it's not a money grab or?
No,
Okay.
she don't. Did you see that documentary?
I did.
Yeah, I mean,
I-
I don't.
that
She don't
shit,
need the
it did
money.
well.
Yeah, I
Huh?
mean, hopefully it brings people out that got harassed or went through difficult times through there too. Because I mean, you talk about the compounds and all this other shit. It's just weird, man. Like, I talked to some people that went through there and they had horror shows. I'm like, nope. And then I talked to Mark about it earlier today, and he said he wanted to join years ago when he came out here, but he decided not to. So I'm glad he didn't go that route.
They have these big, huge buildings
They're huge.
and no cars in them.
Yeah,
And
they're huge.
They have these huge buildings and no cars in the parking lot ever. I'm like, what are they doing here? What are these?
Well, the one up there, they
I'm
opened
not
up
gonna
in
say
North
it again.
Hollywood.
Yeah,
It's huge.
it's huge.
So
What do you think?
I don't know what the going on. I live on an island. I don't pay attention to a lot of what is it?
That's
Shit
awesome.
is
I
new
love
to
that.
me.
What's the documentary though? Because I might have seen it.
Well, that's what
What was the name of that
I
doc?
can't remember something about Scientology.
It's gonna make-
It was
gonna
her
have-
name. Her name was in the title.
Title.
Yeah.
Yep, I missed that one.
Yeah.
He was joking. I said that.
I really
you
thought.
did it.
I really
Mark
thought
was
he
joking. Well, hey,
Glad you clarified that.
That's where those actor chops come in that can make it real. I mean, no, he was kidding. He wouldn't have done. I wouldn't have let him do it. Shit.
Golly.
Oh shit.
Ooh,
Okay. Now,
I love it.
since I have a hidden secret of loving the movie Blue Crush,
Oh wow.
I always wanted to learn how to surf and shit like that. Could you please tell us how big surfing is on the island, how big the competitions is, and everything?
It's huge. I mean, especially on Maui, there's Jaws, and
Shark Week.
that's huge when that goes off. Like at one time, I was on a helicopter tour, and I didn't even know Jaws was going off, and I was in the helicopter, and I flew right over the wave as people were dropping in. I was like,
that's
"Holy
crazy.
shit, that was awesome!" I texted my brother; he's all jealous and shit. And then on Oahu, there's Pipeline. And I remember the first time I went to Pipeline, that was so surreal because I grew up surfing in Morro Bay, loved Blue Crush, and to then be standing on the beach, it was so surreal. Love it. And then also on Maui, there's Honolulu Bay. And that's where there's always surf competitions. But I
Right.
love seeing like the little groms out there. Man, I see like 6-year-olds that surf better than what I did when I was 16. Like I don't surf anymore, but
Okay.
no, yeah, surfing's big out there.
So is that whole
Love it.
local thing a true thing
Yeah, I was
about the
gonna ask
locals?
too.
Is it true?
You know, you guys have your
Yes,
hidden beaches.
yes and no.
Surf your
Yeah.
own. Surf your own waves.
I mean, probably. It's been a long time since I've been out in the waves.
Right.
I used to do that shit though in Morro Bay. We were
bet you
kids.
did.
Yeah, we were watching Blue Crush and Lords of Dogtown. We were like little.
Yeah, but you're missing the biggest one. What about Point Break?
I didn't watch that one.
You never seen Point Break, the original?
No.
Oh, wow.
I'm gonna plead the fifth on
Damn
that
it,
one.
I
too.
got
You haven't seen it either?
I have
You've seen
homework.
Blue Crush, but you haven't seen Point Break.
I've seen both, and the remake was terrible.
No,
The
I didn't
first
see.
one
No, I
was-
didn't watch the remake. Point Break is. Did you like Point Break?
Oh, I loved it. It's
Yeah.
one of the great. Yeah, one of
You
the.
haven't seen. Wow.
I've got some homework.
Keanu Reeves, right?
Yeah.
What about
Patrick
the
Swayze,
other,
it's a great movie.
The movie with Jessica Alba. The what is that? Deep Blue.
Yeah,
Deep Blue Sea.
Yeah.
That's Paul.
I thought it was like
Paul,
ocean or
and
blue.
then-
I don't know.
yeah, something like
Ocean.
that.
So they got a
Something
bunch
blue.
of numbers.
Yeah.
Maybe something.
That is
like
a dope ass picture. Though.
It is. That's really cool. Yeah.
See, I don't surf anymore though. Like growing up in California, we surfed over sandy bottoms.
Right.
Hawaii, it's a sharp ass reef. That shit's intimidating if you
Ooh.
didn't grow up on that.
Yeah,
So I
makes
just
sense.
I stick to swimming.
In pools.
Yes, tanning, floaties. Yeah.
Kiddie pools.
Yeah.
All sorts.
Glass of wine, maybe.
You know, I'll hang out in the carpool if you ask me.
Word.
All right.
I think that's it, brother.
So that is it. So let's dive deep into Dear Thomas for a
Yes.
second.
Well, we
This
can't go too deep because we don't want.
Yeah,
we don't
well,
want everybody to go.
We
and
still
get
want
this
y'all to
book.
buy this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, please support. But yes, explain to us who this infamous Thomas is. Now, I've read it. They have some information as well on it. The ComPODres don't, but briefly give them some so they can go and buy it.
Yeah. So Thomas and I were in a relationship for 6 years. And this is my journey and my experience of what it's like to be in love with a drug addict. It's fucking heavy.
Right.
I wrote this for all the loved ones out there that know what it's like to have a loved one as an addict, whether that's your spouse, significant other, sibling, parent, child. I wrote this for you guys to let you know, like, I relate to you and I know what the you're going through. And anyone that doesn't understand, for example, like I've been called everything in the book, enabler, codependent. For those that don't understand what a loved one goes through, consider yourself very lucky that you don't understand.
Right.
Because it's not easy.
Right.
It's rough. You know, I lost myself trying to save someone who, one, didn't want to be saved.
Right.
And I also lost myself loving someone who didn't know how to love. So
Wow, that's strong.
I'm
right
sure a
there.
lot of you guys
That's
out there
strong.
can definitely relate to that.
Yeah,
for a
that's
fact.
strong.
it's heavy, but I promise you will laugh your ass off in some parts. Have you laughed your ass off?
Yeah, I
in some
did. But I'm at
Just
that.
for some
I'm
of
at
the
that
experts I've
chapter
seen
Yes.
were
where
funny.
it gets spicy. It gets
And,
real spicy.
Yes. And oh shit, I just lost my train of thought. But when I first came up with the idea of writing this book, I didn't know how it was going to end at that time. I didn't know if there was going to be an overdose, if he was ever going to get sober, if it was going to be a happily ever after. I had no idea. And then I'll just let everyone know the blind side happened. And I remember I called my best friend. I named her Gabriella in the book. And I was like, I got to finish this fucking book like now.
Right.
She's like, oh shit.
It's
And
about
she's
to go
like,
down.
does he know? And I'm like, no, I never mentioned it to him. He knows now.
Right.
Thomas knows that there's a Dear Thomas now. But when all of this was happening, and even years ago when I first came up with the idea of this, I kept this project to myself.
Right.
And then when the blind side happened, I was like, oh, it's happening.
So you're writing this live time. Was there any discoveries or surprises that were happening? Because obviously you were doing your research and you were living it. So, can you talk to that during the writing process?
Yeah. So when I first came up with the idea that I was going to write a book, this was back in 2017. Here and there, I would write down journal entries.
Right.
But really, I wrote this whole thing last year, like from beginning to end. So like I had some journal entries saved. I don't ever delete a text message.
Are you one of those? Huh?
Oh yeah.
Receipts.
Oh yeah.
Scorpios, right?
Oh
That-
yes.
There's that Scorpio
I
shit.
should've-
Scorpios,
I
ain't
should've-
Now, let me ask you a
No,
question. Do you delete the number
though it's
but
Leo
keep the
season.
text?
Oh no, the number it's always the number's always
so
saved.
you keep the name in the whole
Yeah,
thing.
I don't block people.
I
Like,
block- I
yeah.
block-
I'll
I
ignore
block a
people. That
few
whole
people.
read receipt thing, I love when people can see that I read their thing. They're like, you didn't respond. I'm like, I know. They're like, but I saw you read it. I'm like, yeah, I know. Like, I'm okay with that. Like, I'm not
That's the
trying to
point.
hide anything. It's like full
Savage.
transparency.
Now
Yeah.
we know why
Yes.
they caught it.
I like it.
If it was
I
worth
like
the
it.
response, you would have got a
I like the
response.
savage
Yes.
chat, the whole thing. This is beautiful. This is a beautiful them over here. I love this.
But
So-
sorry to cut you off there.
No,
but-
yeah. So I had some journal entries. I don't delete text messages. I went back through my Facebook posts, my Instagrams, fucking Snapchat. I don't even know how to use Snapchat anymore, but it's still there. Like, you
Right.
can't get rid of it. And so I just went there to just like basically confirm the dates of everything and put my pieces back together. And aside from that, I have a fantastic memory. Like, my brothers are fucking terrified of my memory. Like, I think it was last Christmas, my middle brother, he randomly said, I wasn't there. And he randomly says at the dinner table, he goes, God damn, Danyelle's memory is insane. And everyone just stops and look at him. They're like, okay, first of all, where the did that come from? And second of all, they're like, yeah, no shit. Like, they say it's my secret weapon of mass destruction is my memory.
your
Like, I
memory.
don't forget anything. And that's a blessing and a curse. Trust me, there's things I wish I could forget, but
Right.
I
Say
just
that
don't.
every day.
Right.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I had some journal entries, but really I just remembered everything. And I ran away to Costa Rica for 6 weeks because I knew writing this book was going to be a full-time job.
Right.
And I just needed no distractions, like phone off. Don't call me for anything. I don't want anyone to need anything from me for 6 weeks. Like, I got to get this thing done. So,
Right.
and
You know
I
the
did.
best thing I get everything you're telling right now? It seemed like you went to Costa Rica and you took care of yourself and took care of you and got down to business.
I did.
That's
I did.
awesome.
And I was still like in the middle of living the timeline of this
Mhm.
when I made the decision. There's something that Thomas did to me in this story when I looked at my best friend. I said, I got to leave the country. Like, I don't know how I'm going to get over this, but I need to get out of this country. Like, I want to go run away, hide. No one can find me. Phone is off. And I was dead set on going to Bali, but there was some restrictions one time ago that restricted me from going to that country. And Costa Rica had no restrictions. And I debated whether that was where I was going to go. And then I was in Denver at a Hooters with two of my best guy friends. And I was looking at flights. I'm like, holy shit, flights are like $300 from Maui to Costa Rica. Like, I'm booking this right now.
Right.
And then I found a little house all to myself. I booked that for the month. It was not even $300 for the month. I'm like, what am I still doing in Maui? And I was like, I'm booking this. Like, even if I don't go, it's not even $300.
Right.
And yeah, so I made that decision in a Hooters 6 months prior to going to Costa Rica.
Fuck.
And then, yeah, once I got to Costa Rica, it was like all about me and healing and putting the pieces back together.
Yeah.
So, and I brought this is where this came to life, was down in Costa Rica. So, and I met a lot of people there that took me under their wing. I have a whole family down there now. They know who they are.
That's so cool.
They made this
That's really
happen.
cool.
Mhm.
Because I know you had to be a little like, because I know you were going there to work, but you were like, hey, I'm going to this new place. So
Yeah, I
that's
was
so
very
cool.
like, I didn't want to go down there and then not come back with anything. But then at the same time, I was like, but I should have fun or I should meet people. It's the first time I've ever gone on a solo trip, let alone out of the country.
Right.
Like, and I don't pay for international phone plans. People are always like, oh, it's $10 a day. Like, I was just in Europe for 6 weeks. I'm like, that's 45 days. That's $450 for what? For scammers to call me? Like, I don't need my phone. Like, what did you guys do in the 80s before phones and shit? Like, that's where I go. I leave the country. I turn my phone off to get my street smarts back. Because truthfully, I am book smart first. I got to practice my street smarts more.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, man, Costa Rica, it was the best.
Yeah, sometimes you got to put your toes to the turf and get back out there.
What a process.
For sure.
I mean, that's serious.
Now, because again, I said I read it and everything, I have to ask a very, very good question because this is your story. How much of your story did you not get to add to this?
Oh, shit. Okay, so I was told that I write at a record pace. I'm just going to show everyone. This is like a normal sized book. A memoir is typically 60 to 80,000 words. This is about probably 75,000 words. I can't remember exactly. When I finished the first draft, it was 3 times bigger than this.
Wow.
It was 709 pages.
Wow.
It was over 176,000 words. And my editor said to me, he said, you have to cut 100,000 words before I even look at it.
Wow.
And I'm like, okay. So I wrote the whole thing in 4 months. And then I spent the next 2 months reading through this thing over and over and over again. The first time I went through it, I was like, okay, how many words did I cut? $8,000. I was like, God damn it. I was like, oh, I gotta do this
Go
again.
back in.
I mean, I went through this thing. At one point, I was telling my my downstairs tenant, I said, by the time this is done, I don't even know if I'm gonna read my own book. And my niece, she's 11 years old. She goes, I don't have to read it. I lived it.
That's awesome. That's
I was
cool.
like, get the out of here. Like, because she was there.
Just drop the
But she was
mic
like,
and walk
oh
off.
man, I was laughing so hard. But for the record, I have read my book after the final product.
Of course, right?
Okay.
When I actually first read it, the first final product for the final edits, because there's always typos. Everyone's like, why don't you use spell check? I'm like, it doesn't work like that.
Right.
But reading it the first time, for a second, I did forget I felt like I was reading someone else's story, which was cool for me.
Right.
But then it's also like, I feel like that just confirms how insane it is.
Right.
Like, really? This is my life?
You're right.
And you want me to shorten it?
Yeah.
Mm.
So stuff that I took out was like, it's my journey of being in love with a drug addict, but life still happens. Everything else is going on. So stuff I took out was like my niece growing up. I had a lot more of like her life events in there too. I had to cut that out. I had a lot more of like my weight gain and weight loss and hair loss that I took out of there. But there's still a little bit in there because there was a lot of physical and mental stress that happened to me when I was going through this. And then things like hurricane season. There was, I think it was like 2018. We had a Category 5 hurricane coming for Lahaina.
Mm-hmm.
So everyone's boarding up their houses with wood. And then all of a sudden we're being evacuated because all of Lahaina's on fire. And so like Thomas was in jail at the time. I'm being evacuated. He doesn't know Lahaina's on fire. Lahaina didn't have power for 3 days, so he can't even get a hold of me. Like, so shit like that is happening all at the same time as what's already going on in here. So stuff like that I had to cut out.
So are you sober then?
I am.
Yeah, okay.
Oh.
So you were sober and he was an addict the whole time.
Yes.
Wow.
Mhm. When I met him, he was sober
Okay.
for many years.
But he was already an addict already. He
Correct.
already went through the treatment and all that. Yeah.
Yep. And so I didn't know him before he got sober. He got sober. We met. And that's the hardest thing for anyone that's a loved one of an addict is they know who the person is when they're sober.
Mhm.
So when they see them going down this path of addiction, they're like, oh, but I know who you really are. And that's what they're holding on to. And that's what they're fighting for.
Right.
And that's what I was doing. I was like, but I know who you are when you're not using. Like, if you would just put the needle down, like, let's get back to that, you know?
Yeah.
But addiction it's huge. It's so much bigger than that.
Yeah. You touched on it a little bit, but I think our viewers at home would like to hear a little bit more about your weight loss, weight gain, your hair,
Yeah.
that whole story. Was it a mindset or was it?
Oh, man. Okay, so I was always skinny. I modeled bikinis when I was 19. Man, my 19-year-old body, can we get back to that? But I could eat whatever I wanted. I had that body. And so I didn't know how to lose weight, to be honest. I never had to. And women, first of all, when you turn 23, 25, like curves start coming out in places you didn't have before. Like you're officially not a teenager anymore.
Right.
So one, my body's changing from like teenager to woman. And then the stress of your boyfriend using heroin, you know, in the next room, like that happens. And then you become a babysitter to the addict.
Mm-hmm.
So you're up all night. You're not sleeping. You're eating Jack in the Box, ice cream. You're just ordering in food. And the next thing you know, you're 45 pounds heavier overnight. All of my hair started falling out all of a sudden. Like,
You were that stressed out about
I
it.
went to a wedding and I was curling my hair and I was like, what the There was like a huge lock missing. And then throughout the months, like more of my hair kept falling out. And I worked at a salon part-time as a receptionist. You guys don't want me doing your hair. I just answer the phones. And yeah, all those girls, they saw me go through that. And it's like, how is it that this gets to use heroin, but I'm the one losing my hair over it? And so it was like that for a few years. There's a few years where I really didn't take any pictures of myself, and that wasn't my personality. And finally, one friend introduced me to like a 30-minute workout that you would do every day, that kind of program. And I was like, okay, I can commit to 30 minutes a day.
Right.
Like this whole, like everyone doing like, oh, it's an hour. I'm like, I can't commit to an hour every single day, but 30 minutes, I can do that.
Yeah.
Cause I had it. I looked at myself in the mirror. I didn't even recognize myself. I just looked like a whale. Like that wasn't me.
Yeah.
I mean, 45 pounds is a lot on my little frame.
Yeah.
And it took a few years, but I finally got rid of all of it.
Good.
So
Yeah.
it was hard. But and honestly, as you get older, it doesn't get easier. You gotta keep with it.
Right.
Man, I can't eat like I did when I was 19.
Sorry,
no one can accept pee.
I'm over here cheating and shit. I got the cheat codes. But there was a lot.
Can I have your thyroid?
There was a lot of years before this that came into this. So yeah, I'm getting back to being disciplined, y'all. Don't worry about it. But no, you definitely alluded to, the trial and tribulations to overcome the physical aspect. What were some of the practices that you took for the mental aspect to become yourself again?
Like after all this ended?
Yes.
So I've done many different forms of therapy. Like I haven't really been doing a lot of the sit down on the couch, like traditional one-on-one therapy. I got to the point where I was like, I'll try anything to feel better. So I started doing Reiki therapy, which is cool. I got obsessed with tarot cards. I can't read tarot cards, but I love when I can go to a stranger who knows tarot cards and they just start flipping cards over and then they all of a sudden know my whole life story. I'm like, how did you get that out of that?
Right.
What else have I been doing? And honestly, there is a tarot card reader where I learned from them that in the future, when I am ready to start dating again, because right now dating is not an option.
Right.
It's just not. A flag is a flag. Like I'm done giving people the benefit of the doubt. Like what is with women especially? Ignoring
I'm
the
not
flags.
laughing at you at all.
No, I get it. Like I don't give a shit in the
Wow.
future. Like if the flag is yellow, orange, red, or purple, like a flag is a flag.
Right.
And like we're stopping right there.
Right.
Like so
Right.
no more. I mean, how red does the red flag have to get?
Right.
So that's stuff I'm working on.
So
I'm
true.
working on, I have some journals with some step work. I'm trying to like dissect some childhood traumas. Why am I the way I am? Why have I dated the men that I've dated? And how do I make sure I don't date those same men again?
Yeah.
So
Listen up.
Yeah, shit. There's a lot of knowledge.
She
in
just
this.
hit home with me on a
flip that,
bunch of
Ricky.
shit. I
A lot of
fucking love
knowledge.
this.
What you got, Joe?
Oh, you know what I'm about ready to pop. I got it.
He loves
I
this is
love-
his
I
favorite
love doing
question.
this, yeah.
You know it.
I
You
know
know,
it.
you know.
You know
Me
what's
too.
coming.
There's one thing in the world that you could change. What would it be?
See, I know this question and I hear you drop it every Monday. And every Monday I'm like, dude, I don't know. Like there's
And you
so
knew you were
much
coming
to
on here.
change.
You had time
I
to
know.
prepare. No one
So
else did.
there's a few things. I mean, I'll name a couple things.
Okay.
While we're on the topic, I mean, could you
Yeah.
imagine a world without addiction?
Yeah, I knew
like,
that.
holy
That's
shit.
what I
Like,
think you
that's
were going
one.
to say. Yeah, of course.
But a bigger one is a world without lies, like it being impossible to lie. Like almost, whether that's politics and social media,
Right.
but just, and then people in general, like I wish it was impossible to lie.
Kind of like Jim Carrey and Liar Liar.
Yes, exactly. And I've always said, and I'll let you guys pick the body part for the women, but I've always said, like, if a guy's dick got shorter every time they lied, like, would they lie? And then at the point when there's no more dick, then
know
their
what?
nose grows like Pinocchio.
I'm gonna be the guy on this one.
Like, I mean,
guess.
Thomas would have lost his
I'm gonna be
dick.
the guy because we can't say brains
I know.
here because there's not a lot of young ladies that's using them out there. So we
I'm
can't
just
say to
saying,
shrink their
Thomas would have
brains.
lost his dick probably at like 10 years old, and then there wouldn't be a Dear Thomas.
You're
We'll just
right.
say
There
that,
would've been a
right?
lot of
If you
Pinocchio.
would have just told the
In
truth.
this world.
Oh yeah.
I hate liars. I hate liars.
Well, I don't know anybody that does. You know, I mean,
Hey, it's self-honesty. If you're honest with yourself, you should be honest with other people.
exactly. No, for sure.
Yeah, that's funny. That's hilarious.
Well, I mean, I think like if with a girl, like you said, get small, well, like a girl's booty would get bigger every time she fucking lied. So you know, you get.
What if girls
No.
not like?
I mean, that
It has to. It would have to be
6
something
feet.
psychological that would diminish the
Maybe the
physical.
flappies. Maybe they're flap.
Right? Make this
Girls,
part,
yeah,
like,
get,
hang,
just start hanging
like-
further. And further.
Add some extra.
Oh yeah,
add some
change. The
extra.
girls don't like that.
Their
yeah.
ears, I don't know.
Right.
Or like reverse Botox. I don't know.
Right.
Make
I
it
don't
to
know.
where no one can get those dragon claw nails.
You look
Somehow, I
older
don't know.
every time you lie. You look older.
Right. None of these wings. I don't know.
She had some great answers.
Yeah,
I really
that was good.
Yeah.
That was a good one.
That was dope.
Yeah, for sure.
And this back to the red flag thing. I want to ask you about what do you think it is when you see red flags and you still go in? Why do you do it when you did it?
I think women in general feel like they can fix everything and everyone to start. And it's like, and I'm working on that. Like, why? Like, if I didn't give birth to you, like, I don't need to take care of you. And
wow, clip that, Ricky.
Right?
Holy shit.
Like, and I have a letter in here because after I go through everything, like I've asked myself, or I felt like I was on a boat in Panama, and all of a sudden I had an epiphany, and it was like, if I met a girl who was going through what I was going through at the time, like what would I tell that girl? And I'd be like, walk the away. And when I say walk away, I mean stay away. Like, don't come back, even if he gets sober on his own or fixes himself. Like, that's always going to be his story and his journey. But that is not why God put you on this planet, is to take care of this.
Right.
Like, so unless you gave birth to this person, it is not your responsibility to take care of them.
That's so good.
That's really good.
There, for sure.
Yeah,
that was also a little trinket of what your grandfather had said.
Yeah.
Stay away.
Yeah.
don't do it.
And why
Don't
my
come
grandpa
back.
didn't tell me to stay away from Thomas is because he didn't know about Thomas.
Yeah.
I kept
still
all that
talk
shit.
to
that
Thomas.
away.
No.
No, okay,
No.
good.
Let's leave that for the readers, right?
Yeah.
No.
We want to hear the end of that. With all your lengthy travels and the places you've been, can you name one of your favorite locations?
Greece.
Greece. How
Oh
was
my
your time
God.
there? What'd you do?
I loved it. One, the people are so nice. Like, I met so many people. I had so much fun there. First, I started in Athens, and I had
dope.
dinner in the sky.
Oh,
So
shit.
dope. It
That
was like
sounds
170 feet up. You're hanging from a crane.
His
You got
balls
like
would be in his
you got
throat.
like 6 forks.
I would
Now that I can do.
In case you
That's
drop a fork.
skydiving shit.
I could do that.
Yeah,
I
that
think
was
you could do
fun.
it, P.
What?
I think you can skydive.
I don't know. When y'all was talking about climbing up 1,500 feet, I'm like, yeah, I can do that. It's
Yeah,
not
you
the
did
coming
say
down.
that. He did say
I
that.
can do
Remember
that.
he said that
I can
shit?
go up there, but then climbing down is
So you
another thing.
couldn't.
trying to freaking pull that string and hope like dear hell it fucking comes out. I don't want to play with my life in that way, man. I'm good.
So Greece and dinner in the sky.
Yep. And then from there, I went to Mykonos, and holy shit, I fell in love with Mykonos. Like, I cried when I left. Like, I could live in Mykonos. I knew every bartender. I don't even drink, but I knew every bartender by like the 6th hour. And then
Right.
the next day I met up with some people that I met up with Athens. So I was like, oh, I'll walk you around Little Venice and Mykonos. I'm like saying hi to the bartenders, like, hi, Nick. Hi, Kostas. They're like, how the f- do you know everyone already? I'm like, that's just who I am.
Right.
And then I went to Santorini, and it was funny because when I was in Mykonos, one of the guys was like, I hate Santorini because it's like the most romantic place. I'm like, yes, there is a section of Santorini where it is romantic as f- but I had the most fun there because it's the first time I ever stayed at a hostel, and I met like 20 solo female travelers. And man, it was like a giant ass slumber party, staying up all night, laughing our asses off. I had told them about this. I had told them about the subject of my second book. I lost count how many jaws I could get to drop. I told them that one. And so it was fun. I loved Greece. Loved it.
That's definitely a dream place to
Yeah,
go.
I'll definitely be going back there, especially Mykonos.
Now, speaking of the second book that's being worked on right now, can't give a specific, but she did say a specific year. What year was
I'm
that
thinking
probably?
Okay.
2025. Like,
Okay.
I've had a lot of people say, they're like, damn it, I didn't want this book to end. Or when I finished it, I wanted to read the next right away. And yes, I want to tell you guys so bad what it is, but I'm still living that timeline.
Right.
And also, like, I've set some serious deadlines for myself to finish this book, like crazy ass deadlines.
Yeah.
But one, because I just needed to get it fucking done. It was therapeutic, and I needed this done. The second one, don't necessarily need to rush it, but I feel like 2025 is a good
Time limit.
good time limit for it.
Gotcha.
And also because right now I don't know how that book ends.
Right.
I really don't.
You're still living it.
Yes,
Right.
exactly.
That's so cool.
And this story is heavy. The second book, there's a lot more healing going on, but it's just as shocking and jaw-dropping.
right.
Not by choice. That's just the life I live. I've had my fair share of blindsides the
Right.
last couple of years. I'll just say that.
Makes sense.
Also alluding to, having a team and everything behind you, the significance of having that going on, and also having somebody to, I guess, help you put this out to the public.
Mm-hmm.
What were some of the steps that you can tell some of the people that could help them if they want to write books?
First step is just write it all down. And like my editor told me, the first rough draft, it's supposed to be rough. It's supposed to be rough as f***. So we call it RAF, R-A-F, RAF draft, rough as f***. Just write everything down and don't hold back. It doesn't need to be polished. And next step, see, it's hard. I can't tell you guys what the next step is because it kind of has to do with my second book.
Right. Oh, got you.
She got the juice. She got the juice.
But no, finding editors, and first and foremost, always self-publish.
Yeah.
Always self-publish. You don't need to go through a publisher. Everyone should be self-publishing nowadays. And but anyone can send me a message on Instagram and I'll tell them what the next steps are. But first of all, just write it down.
What's that handle?
At Danyelle Cedar.
At Danyelle Cedar. You got any questions? Holler at her. Word.
Hell yeah. And also get out there and buy the book. It's amazing. I can't even stop saying the F word. It's funny. Y'all two, bro.
Well, hold on now. I've been a little laid back on it today.
Sorry.
Because, Gabe gets pissed at me with the bleeps and shit. So I've been trying to be all right, but off camera, we can do it all day.
Let me enjoy it.
Sorry, Gabe. Unison.
Some of the biggest compliments I've gotten, though, is I've had a handful of people message me. They're like, look, I don't read. And I couldn't put your book down, and I read it in like 3 days. I'm like, oh my God, that's so cool. Like, thank you. Like, that's a cool thing when people are like, I don't read. And I couldn't put this down.
Preston's been talking about this
how she's talking.
He's been on it.
Is how she wrote it.
Well, that's a great thing because, she's one of those writers that
I like that you bring that up, though, because I do want anyone out there, if you feel like you've wanted to write your story and you feel like you don't, I'm going to tell this quick story. I was a straight A student. And I was the overachiever. Like I was done with high school at 16. But in grammar school, I scored low when it came to like writing essays and story writing. The teachers would always describe it to me. They're like, okay, you're in the 6th grade, but you write like a 4th grader. I'm like, well, what does that mean? And they would always say, they're like, you write like you talk. I'm like, well, how else would you write?
I love that though. Yeah.
Like, so don't let anyone tell you that you can't do something. Right. Like if I'd be listening to my elementary school teachers telling me that I score low in writing, like, well, sorry, bitches, I wrote a book. Like, and I write like I talk. How else would I write? I never understood that.
It's
a beautiful thing.
Zipping it up for that F word right now, even though my mom knows. That's my favorite word.
So I do want to say, for everybody listening and watching, what do you hope people get out of this? Like, what's the bottom bones line of somebody picks this book up? What do you want them to get from it?
I just want people to know that they're not alone, and that if they feel like they're alone, like, that's bullshit. I relate to you. And I hope people can recognize that we've all heard it. Like when an addict or an alcoholic, they have to want the help.
Right.
It's the same thing for the loved ones. Like we have to want to walk away, and it's hard. And so I would hope that someone could maybe find the strength to walk away and know that it's not your problem. Like you're not doing a bad thing. If anyone's judging you, again, it's because they don't understand, and they're lucky that they don't understand.
Yeah.
So I relate to you guys, and I hope you've got the strength to just take care of you. Like there's nothing wrong with putting yourself first. It's actually a very selfless thing to do when you're doing it correctly.
Right.
Like,
right. That reminds me of the saying, if you can't take care of yourself, how can you take care of anybody else?
100%. Right? That whole airplane thing, that's not a cliche.
Yeah.
Like,
I'll tell you guys firsthand, it's better to learn it the right way instead of the hard way.
Yeah. That's a good one. That's good. Yeah.
For sure.
Fire us up, Joe. What else you got?
So what inspired you to be a writer? I mean, so this is your first book,
This is my first book. So as a kid, I would always write songs.
Okay.
I'd always write lyrics.
That comes from the James K camp and everything else, right? Oh,
this was before I met James K. Hi, James. That's how we bonded over, was writing songs.
Yeah, but you said you were a little bit in music.
Yeah. But no, just as a kid, I always wrote songs. I don't even remember how that started. God, you know what? I feel like I do know how it started, though. I remember I was like, I must have been 7 or 8. Yeah, that's that memory. I can't get rid of it. My uncle got me the first Backstreet Boys CD.
Oh, word.
And I remember the next day I told my dad, I was like, I'm going to be a singer. And I just started writing songs. Didn't become a singer, but I probably have like banker boxes somewhere with like a shit ton of music. I should just sell all of it.
Right.
Yeah.
But when I moved to Maui, I did notice that I stopped writing songs. I don't know why. Just different place, didn't have different inspiration. I don't know.
Right.
But I remember at some point in my 20s, I thought to myself, I was like, you know what? I should write a book. Like my childhood was insane. I should write a book. And I have a few different stories of my childhood where I'm like, oh, it could go that way. It could go that way. But when I came up with the idea of this, I knew that this was going to be my first book. And I had sent you a message before that it was like a week ago. All of a sudden I kind of realized what my biggest fear in life is. And
you said you wanted to save it.
Yep. And I just realized it like a week ago. My biggest fear in life is losing my memory. Because I have more stories to share. I have more books to write. I'm working on the second. I know what the title and the subjects are for books number 3 and 4. And I just think I'd be doing a disservice to my readers if I lost my memory. But also more importantly, it'd be really shitty if I forgot everything I've gone through and all the lessons I've learned and like why I've come this far and all the growth. Like, could you imagine if I hit my head and all of a sudden I thought it was like January 2020?
It happens to people all the time.
Oh my God. When I see movies like that, like, oh, it breaks my heart. I'm like, they don't remember. Or like, yeah, if I'm in ICU and Preston's like, Danyelle, read this. Like, this is what you've forgotten. I'd be like, no way.
I get this.
Like, that would be tragic. So that's my biggest fear is losing my memory.
That's a scary one too. You know, I've been through a situation, you know, with older people with like, you know, dementia, Alzheimer's and stuff. And man, it's so sad to see, you know, they can't remember anything.
No, it is. I had a couple people over the years. It was really sad.
It's sad. Yeah, that's definitely a scary one for
Especially
sure.
like the happy memories, of course, but the things that were done to you that made you grow into who you are and the lessons you got out of that, it's like, ooh, that would be, I mean, could you imagine? I'd be like, where's Thomas? Like, no, honey, that's done.
Get that cure, man. Come on, y'all.
I know that way too well because my grandfather.
Right.
That was kind of something that I went through with him on a constant daily basis, just positively reminding them that it's okay to just be supportive too, you know?
Yeah, it's the only thing you can do.
Right.
And memory loss is definitely a scary one for sure.
Now we're going to shift into the positive period of the podcast.
Hold on. Before we do that, can I ask her a really fun question real quick? So can you tell us about that hat? Why you got that nickname? Where you got it from?
So, well, my friends have always said, they're like, God, you're savage. Like even like my best friend, when she finished reading this, she goes, dude, you completely obliterated his ass. And it's just who I am. And then when I was in Costa Rica, I don't really remember. Well, I remember I was debating whether or not I wanted to put my name on this book, if I was going to do like a stage name.
Right.
And it was going to be Danny Savage.
Danny
so my
Savage.
nickname down there was Danny Savage.
I like that.
But then I was like, oh, if I ever write children's books in the future, like it can't be by Danny Savage. Like, but
you could write it as a beautiful savage. Yes, your name could be beautiful.
Yes. And I don't remember what else went on down there, but they were all like, oh yeah, she's savage. Like they were like the new girl, she's savage.
Yeah.
I think it was just anything that would come out of my mouth.
Right. I love that when we talked a little bit off camera about it, so I had to bring it up on the pod.
I mean, I thought about changing my last name to it.
To Savage.
For the record, Cedar's not my last name.
Yeah.
So I don't care for my last name.
Gotcha.
So I was like, I don't know. Maybe I'll change my last name to Savage one of these days. Who knows?
Might as well.
Yeah.
Hey, you can do
That
it
must
easily.
be a thought that's going around.
A lot, yeah.
You guys know behind the scenes. So.
I'm never changing my last name. It just rings too well. I gotta leave it.
Oh,
Preston wanted to do it, but we ain't we'll stop there. Yeah.
I'll give you some more Savage stories off the mic.
Right.
Sounds good to me.
Or part 2 when you come
some
back.
ways torches can be passed without things being changed.
Exactly.
Facts.
So, so let's dive
Thank you,
into the
man.
positive
My
period of the podcast. No, that was amazing.
Right.
That was savage. That was savage.
I knew we were about to get positive, but I gotta get that out first.
Yeah, before we hit y'all over the head with some positivities, let's go ahead and hit y'all over the head with some savagery.
Facts.
Now, ladies and gentlemen,
Big facts.
leave the compadres at home with some positivity until next week.
Oh.
Yeah, you get to listen to yourself.
Oh, man. Shit, I didn't see that coming. Do you guys do that every Monday?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
How do I not remember that part? I don't know.
Because you're being a savage.
Yeah.
You're listening.
Too much savagery going on.
Right?
Lance got you.
Oh, man. Just be kind, people. And also mind your own business. That's another big thing.
Yeah.
But just be nice to each other. Here I am dropping F-bombs.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with that, bomb.
Yeah.
It's a
I mean, if you watch
Yeah.
all these, I love it when
Yeah.
women especially say the word and I think it's a great word to say.
I'm like, just be nice. That actually reminds me of one time I had my niece was, she had to be like 3 or 4, and her best friend, I saw my niece hit her first, and then she hit her back. And so then my niece starts crying, and I was like, oh, and I was like, all right, rule number 1, no hitting. Rule number 2, if you're going to hit, you're not allowed to cry. Like,
Yeah, that's hey.
I'm like,
That's
be nice to each other.
That's how exactly how I was raised.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
some
If you're gonna
amazing
snitch.
positivity right there. I love the
Just
F-bomb.
that's
You're
all I
gonna
can think
snitch,
of right
don't
now.
cry.
Just
Right.
be nice to everybody.
Come here and get these stitches. Come on over. What you guys got?
I'll kick it up. I was just gonna say this week instead of get money. I was gonna say because you guys kill it every week. I'm like, how am I supposed to follow it up? But I was thinking on the way over. I was like, I used to pray for times like this, right? Not just the pod,
Right.
but just having friends that are so good at what they do, and we are building this thing, working towards it, and it's just awesome to have us having a singular mind, working towards the same thing, and Mark behind the scenes, everything we do, it's just awesome, man. So I'm really happy for that, and I hope that is positive for you guys at home.
Oh no, that was very deep. That's very emotional.
Mastermind.
I really like that.
Make my day.
Isn't it? It's cool though, like when you have like a team of people that all have the same, focus.
No, exactly, and I think when, at the end of the day, everyone who's been on here as our guest is part of the team.
Yeah,
and
I know.
facts.
I'm
that's
like,
as
can I
well.
come back next week? Like,
We're gonna extend that flight.
all right.
You definitely can come back on for sure when you're
Yeah,
you're
whenever
free,
you're
when free.
welcome back whenever you
Absolutely.
want.
That's why I was like, okay, so when does the second bus come out? Oh
Yeah.
shit, 2025. All right,
I'm sure
we're gonna
we can,
gotta get some more between
I'm
this
sure
and
we
that.
can find something to talk
Like,
about.
right?
How
before
much
then.
was the flight?
For sure.
Yeah.
That's their coming. Oh, okay, cool.
Shit, we might just need to make a trip to Maui and do
Right?
it.
That would
I-
be so dope.
I definitely have to go back to Hawaii and do it right.
That would be so
I want to
dope.
go to Maui. Maui's different than I've heard Maui, and Kauai is the other one that's really
Yes.
popular, right?
Yeah.
I've heard about those.
Oahu is like LA in the middle of the ocean. Kauai is the slowest.
Right.
So if you got a book or you're going to the spa or if you like hiking, but like it's gorgeous, but you got to be content with like doing nothing.
Right.
And then Maui is like a good balance between those two.
Right.
And then there's the Big Island, which is similar to Maui, but everything's so spread apart. You got to drive forever to get anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, Maui, they say Maui no ko'oi. No ko'oi means the best.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got it. He gave me that look. Patience. Patience. Be patient with yourself. It allows you to be patient with other people.
Yeah.
Also, being patient with the process. It allows you to enjoy the journey because it's not about the destination. So just be patient, and, wherever you're trying to get to, head down, keep working, and just be patient.
Big facts. I love the journey part. That's dope.
So this
Here we
one,
go.
I'm gonna put out some personal business. And it's a little sad, but it's good. And her hat reminded me of my dog right now, Howie. He's got a tumor on his bladder, and he keeps pissing blood, but he don't give a shit. He's a savage. And I talked to Mark about this today, and he looked at me and he goes, "Man," I go, "Yeah." And I look at him and he doesn't care. He's just gonna fight through it, and he'll let me know when it's time.
All right.
And he's 13. But I just look at that and I look at people in their life and how they have little things just bring them down. And they don't want to move forward over the smallest thing. And they want to just stay in the past. And they don't want to grow. And I have my dog who is pissing blood and he does not give a shit. He's going to do his thing. Yeah, I'm comparing a dog to a person. But my point is just little things. Don't stress. Just be happy and go on with your life. So,
Right.
Stress will kill you faster than a
yeah,
speeding
that's
bullet.
right. That's
Say
right.
some prayers for
Living
Howie, man.
testament.
Yeah, no, he's going to be all right.
He's-
Lance
he's
was
a-
over there
I
today.
mean,
He was
the same
yeah,
dog.
he was messing
When
with
you
legs.
brought him to
Whipping
me,
around.
Whipping
he was
around.
knocking chips
Yeah,
over.
yeah,
Not
he don't
going
give a
away.
shit.
My legs were
I'm sure,
whiplashed up.
I'm sure Howie has another message to people out there, like just kick some grass over that shit and move on. Like,
Some lady the other day was pissing me like, no shit, I'm trying to get it fixed. I'm dealing with the vet. He's got his chemo pill. What do you relax?
Or, as Howie would say, pick up your shit because my owner don't like that shit.
Yeah, that's right. That's
don't like
right.
stepping in it.
That's right. That's right.
Hey, man, that was dope.
Oh my gosh, compadres.
That was cool.
Man.
It's fun.
I can't say enough, but we said a lot.
Yes, we did.
All right, so you know what time it is. It's at
COMPODRES.
COMPODRES. And to my right, the ill son himself.
I am _ill son.
And also to my right, Joe Rosati himself.
The real Joe Rosati.
Yes. And let the ladies and gentlemen at home know where to find you and your awesome book.
Instagram at Danyelle Cedar, and I also got the at Dear Thomas the book.
Nice.
Yeah.
And we can get hard copies. We can do it on Kindle. We can do.
Yep, hard paper, Kindle, iBooks, all online. Amazon, Barnes and Noble, Books a Millions, even Walmart. Don't ask me how it got there. I don't know who buys books at Walmart, but if you got a gift card, you know where to buy it online. And then anyone can go to their local bookstore and request them to carry it in shop for them. So
Dope.
And also, she'll be working on an audiobook soon.
Oh, that's cool. That's awesome.
I'm working on it.
That's so cool.
I'm taking applications if anyone wants to play the voice of Thomas.
Dang. That's a lot of
you got a voiceover actor right here.
I'm not doing his voice.
If you really want to talk about it, we can. I'm not even pulling bullshit out.
You're going to have to be off here.
I can do this.
Hey, how you guys doing? Everything okay over here?
Oh, no. Shut up, girl.
Shut up, girl.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm your host, Sbpress, and like that, compadres, we are
I need
gone.
all the wins. Yeah.